Well, good afternoon, everybody. Michael, soothing here. So, I'm gonna just read a little bit of the paper and munch on. By the way, before I forget, memory's not so good. I've had some subbies say that ads are busting into the middle of my ASMR videos, and I find that distressing because it would really break up the flow of relaxation to have that happen. So I'm going to check and see if there's some way I can fix that. And additionally, I have people making requests, and I like that because I'm going to write them down and I will try to fulfill as many requests as I can in the future, particularly when I move to my house in Oregon, where I'll have peace and quiet all the time, pretty much all the time, and can make videos day or night. And so that's still about a month away. Seems like I've been saying that for months now, but it's most definitely certain that I'll be there within a month. Okay. I gotta have another sip of water before I read. Also, I had a request: point the camera down at the paper when I read it. And I will do more of those in the future. But today I'm just already relaxed, so I don't want to change the anything. I'm gonna munch on just a tiny bit of a snack while I'm doing this. These things, pretzel pieces that have a jalapeno flavor, because I like spicy jalapeno. So, would this be a good thumbnail? I don't know. I can't make thumbnails right now with my video camera because of the settings it's on. Anyway, and for upcoming videos I have planned, I'm going to talk about Halloween candy. What else in the next few days? I think I'm going to upload a haul video for fishing equipment because I just uploaded that little unboxing video for a fishing reel, a Zepco. I always hated that brand in the past because it was manufactured so cheap, and they would just break and not work right, and they're badly made. But this one is a high quality. I tested it a couple days ago, went fishing, and it worked great. So I hope that hum in the background isn't disturbing. It's the refrigerator compressor just came on. Anyway, I'm going to do a video on Motor Trend magazine, and read through some of that since I'm into cars and things. A few things like that. I have a lot of videos planned, probably 50 to 100 ideas that I want to do, but I really need to move first, so I may only do 2 or 3. Anyway, let's get on with this. I'm rambling, Don't you hate that? Well, hopefully at least my voice is soothing you, even if it involves rambling. Before we read, let's see what these things look like. They look like this. A little bit like cat treats, Let's see what they taste like. They do have a very hot and spicy jalapeno flavor. Very salty though, but I like that. Actually, these are too salty even for me. So maybe the other household members don't like spicy though. How many calories do we have? Serving size 1 ounce. Servings per container 2, 140 calories. That's not bad. These are so hot, I'm only going to eat a little bit at a time. Maybe 30 or 40 calories worth at the most. That's an interesting one. It's got some kind of really spicy coating on one side, and or the jalapenos on that side. And that's like the salty coating. Okay. I think that will be quite enough of that. Let's see what happened in the paper. Once again, I'll avoid politics because I think you get enough of that about 23 hours out of each day. You don't need it here, do you? Besides, we all have our own opinions, and we don't necessarily have to voice them all the time. It's more soothing sometimes to not. Okay, so first of all, judge approves like $15 billion plan to buy back polluting VWs. If you have one of these VWs, I hate to tell you this, but the way they set up the electronic control on it, it's performing better and getting better mileage right now than the way it's going to run when they, fix it. But they were cheating. They set it up so that it would pass the emissions test. It would know. It would have a smart chip, and it would know when you were doing emission testing on it at your emission testing station. And it would adjust everything to pass, and then as soon as you drove away, it would know you were done with that, and it would say, okay, let's go back to the algorithms that will make this engine run with a little more power and a little better mileage, and a little bit more emissions though, right? So that's those engineers at Volkswagen thought they were getting an edge in saving money, but instead they're getting hit with $15 billion penalty plan, and furthermore, it's gonna smear their reputation so badly. Here's how it works. If you had a car sold from 2009 to 2015, you're going to get money back, plus they'll buy back the car. It's actually a pretty good deal for the owner because they can come close to getting all their money back and go buy a new car, depending on how old the vehicle is, of course. Let's see what it says. Oh, here's an example. On page 2, they show a car in the shop, right? Or is it being tested? Yeah, it's being tested at the California Air Resources Board lab. That Volkswagen there. It says, for a 2015 VW Gold, whatever that is, that must be a Beetle or I don't know what that is. Maybe it's like a Jetta or something. Anyway, it says the MSRP was $30,000, right? They will buy it back for about $22,000. So you say, hey, doesn't that mean the owner loses $8,000 in depreciation? Well, that's not so bad because they're also going to pay restitution of $5,000. So the reality is you only lost about 10% of the car's value if you do this deal, and you can buy a brand new car. So, and no one paid the MSRP full price in the first place anyway. So it's pretty much like you drove the car for free, can turn it in no matter how many miles and how beat up the thing is, and go buy a new car. So, but I think this only affects, was it diesel engines? I don't think it's every kind. Let's see if we can find out. Let's see. Consumer claim by the federal government. Let's see if it tells anywhere here what types. Oh, here we are. Thousands of price here. Oh, they're still working on whether it affects. This settlement only affects 2-liter engine vehicles. So maybe that's a pretty broad spectrum. There's still litigation pending on 3-liter vehicles. And Volkswagen has agreed to pay another $1.2 billion to its dealers, because the dealers weren't involved in this, they didn't know. And they're going to get hurt in this process. All right, enough of that story. The bottom line is, it doesn't pay to cheat. Usually, anyway. Like I said, we won't talk politics here. Prison Officers Union begins a campaign to keep the state death penalty. Now you might say to yourself, why do they want the death penalty? Wouldn't they rather have, since their job is having inmates, wouldn't that put them out of a job more if there was less inmates? But the rationale really is, if a guy is on, if you take everyone on death row and say, we're commuting your sentence to life without the possibility of parole, all those inmates now have nothing to lose if they kill another inmate or if they kill a prison guard. So it puts the guards at risk, because that inmate can murder as much as he wants to now, and there's no change in his sentence or his penalty, see? So whether you believe in the death penalty or believe it should be abolished, that would be the rationale that the prison guards are. That's why their union says, hey, I don't want a bunch of people around me who want to kill me and have nothing to lose and no penalty if they do so. You can kind of understand that, right? Let's see. Highway 50 bridge replacement plan. That's kind of a bore. Obama, let's see here. No, I promise this is not political. Obama makes us talk of mean tweets and politics. So I'm not going to talk about the politics part on the Kimmel show. I'm going to talk about the mean tweet part, because my only editorial comment on this is, it seems like Twitter and Facebook and other social media have become too much about mean and nasty comments and less about civil dialogue and discourse. And that's why here on my channel, we don't do that. Regardless, everyone is welcome here, regardless of your point of view on anything. But what's not welcome is mean and nasty dialogue. I have to pause. Okay, what else do we have going here? NAACP members got sick. Now they're suing a luxury hotel for millions. This is a pretty strange story. What happened is there was a big conference and everybody ate some kind of salmon or something. And then they all got the norovirus the next day. I'll have to study up on the norovirus more and read this story to make sure I'm not eating at the wrong places, when I'm on travel. Oh, here's a story that looks a little bit interesting. She looks a little like Jodi Arias, doesn't she? In that prison garb. Woman charged in case of deputy left hanging onto car. I think I better find out what this is about. A Carmichael woman who allegedly fled the scene of a traffic stop as a sheriff's deputy was leaning into her car window made her first appearance in court Tuesday. Brittany Nichols, 26, faces charges of resisting arrest, assault with a deadly weapon, I think that's the car, and probation violation after the incident near Winding Oak Drive, being held on a $140,000 bond. Nichols wearing orange and white jail garb. That's kind of like a vanilla and orange lollipop, did not speak during her brief appearance. But she was thinking some mean thoughts in her head, I'll bet. She did not enter a plea. Let's see. Initially, she cooperated with the deputy who stopped her car, a Mercedes that had paper license plates. I don't think paper license plates would hold up well in a rainstorm, do you? As it appeared to be chasing someone who was running down the street. I wonder if that was a boyfriend she was angry at or something. She does sound a little like Jodi Arias. She stepped out. For those of you who don't know, I did like 60 videos on the sociopathic, psychotic, succubus, evil woman, 29 stabbing, throat-slitting gunshot to the head murderer, Jodi Arias, but I did it on a different channel, so I was a little obsessed with that case because she was so heinously evil and did all this planning and everything. And, of course, all of her planning ended up backfiring on her because it was part of the evidence. Anyway, what did this girl do here? She was chasing someone down the street with her car. She stepped outside the car, jumped back in, and then accelerated while the deputy was hanging on, trying to detain her. He must have been on the passenger side. The deputy fired toward Nichols as he tried to disengage from the speeding car, but missed her. How do you miss somebody who's 1 foot away from you, I wonder? Maybe he needs some additional handgun range training, but not that I want to see this crazy woman shot or anything, but I do understand if somebody's roaring off at high speed with you stuck in the window, he probably couldn't get his gun in position or something, like, one arm's in the window hanging on and the other's holding a firearm, right? And his legs are being dragged along and he's thinking, how am I going to keep from going under this car? Nichols fled. I guess he fell off. And the deputy was taken to the hospital for treatment. Nichols, who dropped her identification papers at the scene, tough way to get away with it, right? was arrested hours later at a home off Greenback Lane. Ooh, that's right, close to where I'm living right now. I think I saw her driving down the street the other day. There was a Mercedes that kept going back and forth between lanes. It would straddle both lanes, and it would go to the right lane and the left lane. No blinkers or anything, of course. A crazy person, you know. It would go off and almost hit the curb. I don't think it was a drunk, though. They look different. It's like they overcorrect. This car looked more like a serial texting and social media person. Anyway, and there should be the death penalty for that, I think. Texting while driving. Okay, so she had a previous criminal record, including felony drug arrests. She pleaded no contest previously to this and that and the other thing, okay? In her television interview, Nichols said the deputy with whom she was fleeing fired his weapon, just missing her head. She's a pretty lucky woman, I'd say. Turnbull declined to confirm the information, which will be part of an investigation. Okay, let's see what else. Ooh, I don't know if I like this story. Dad dies in a leap, but his young sons live. Where is it? His young sons live. A man died after jumping off a highway bridge with his 2 young sons in his arms, but the boys survived the 100-foot plunge into a wooded area and are expected to make a full recovery. Wow. He wanted to take himself out and his 2 boys with him. He wanted them to die with him, but he died. Let's see. The boys are age 1 and 3. Grabbed them and put them in his arms as he leaped from the Wanake Bridge on Monday night. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The boys were found nearby. When the officers found the children conscious and alert, it was nothing short of a miracle. I agree. And I think maybe God's hand of I don't ascribe everything in the world that happens to, God's providence. It's not God's prescriptive will when somebody, does something horrible, to an animal or a child or whatever, obviously. Or when a national, usually when a big disaster occurs. This is all part of the free will, natural order of things. But in this case, it's just that these poor young children who never did anything, they're only 1 and 3, they survive with no serious injury. And the crazy psycho dad who tried to kill them with him died. So it's kind of a serious and sad story, probably mentally ill, but I'm glad the kids survived. Too many crazy death stories today. 4 die on an Aussie theme park ride. 4 people were killed after a river rapids ride malfunctioned at a popular theme park on Australia's east coast. The Thunder River Rapids ride. So don't travel to Australia and ride on the Thunder River Rapids ride, okay? Oh, I got this Amber Alert a couple days ago. Baby sought in Amber Alert, found safe in a duffel bag. Let's see what happened. A Sonoma County woman and her 7-month-old son, subjects of a child abduction Amber Alert on Monday, were found safe in the Sierra community of Downeyville. A grocery clerk recognized Hannah Ashley from news coverage because her picture was plastered everywhere when she abducted. She had hidden the baby in a duffel bag. The woman was booked into county jail. The child was taken to hospital for exam, but appeared to be healthy. I guess this woman abducted the child from the grandmother because the grandmother has legal custody, and Ashley has some serious problems that drugs and so forth that caused her child to be taken away. Let's see, what else? CHP dogs sniff out 500 pounds of pot. Do you know we have a bunch of ballot initiatives for next week's election to legalize pot in California? Which way shall I vote? On the one hand, you don't want all kinds of people locked up, overcrowding the jails for pot smoking or selling when medicinal marijuana is already legal here. But on the other hand, if you legalize it, does that lead lots of young people to become demotivated pot smokers? I don't know. It's a tough call to make. Let's see here. Aerojet CFO, Wells Fargo CEO. Gee, I'm sorry. That's not good enough. Japanese spot bidding farewell to downtown. Downtown continues to redefine its. You don't care about Sacramento downtown, so we won't talk about that. Self-driving truck makes a beer run as first delivery. Look there. Self-driving truck makes a beer run on its first delivery. The first commercial shipment by a self-driving truck was a beer run. Uber Technology Incorporated self-driving trucking unit said it partnered with brewing giant Anheuser-Busch to carry 51,744 cans of Budweiser on a shipment through Colorado. Yes, you can go out and buy a can of beer that was shipped by a self-driving truck, Otto said. They had the full support from state of Colorado, where pot is already legalized, I might add. You know, the great thing about a self-driving beer truck is the driver's not going to be tempted to get in the back and start drinking the stuff he's hauling and then be inebriated, because I don't think the robotic self-driving truck will have any of that alcohol, so that's good. But what happens if, since it's Uber doing it, what if somebody gets an Uber ride on the self-driving truck, right? And they break into the goods in the back. There are concerns that trucks without humans at the wheel could mean fewer jobs for the 1.7 million truckers in the USA. That would seem to be an inevitable consequence if this becomes a trend. I don't know if it would be safer or not safer to have a self-driving truck. There's a lot of human error. This bus crashed the other day and killed a lot of people because the driver fell asleep or something. Let's see here. Pentagon works on hunter-killer robots. See, what we need is, we need armed conflicts to be resolved by robots shooting at each other so that humans don't have to be involved, right? Then maybe we won't have all those deaths and things. Do we really need science for this? It says here, scientists show how tiny fibs can snowball into bigger lies, you know. So, what's the gist of this story? A little dishonesty goes a long way. Tell that to your spouse, okay? Scientists who studied brain activity of people who told small lies to benefit themselves found that these fibs appear to pave the way to telling whoppers later. Okay, so if I tell you that the minnow I caught the other, actually it was a bluegill, that the bluegill I caught the other day was this big, which was actually this big, if I tell you it was this big, it paves the way later to telling you it was this big, because it creates new pathways in my neural network, apparently. But did we really need science to tell us this? Isn't there an old poetry line that says, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we deign to deceive," or something along those lines. Oh, it's, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive." That's the line, I think. But it's an old one. Everybody knows that small lies lead to bigger ones, and it's a bad idea to do it. So I don't think we need a major. You know, this is like, oh, scientists discover after a major $8 billion study that men are attracted to sexy women, okay? Really? Okay, so, and that men are kind of shallow, okay, yeah, so, anyway, I don't think, oh look, another story on the capital of California is going to roll out self-driving car fleet. I think that might be better in their case than the political personnel of the capital, all the folks that work for the state government running around in those other cars because they're always using it for their own personal stuff and getting into trouble. I think, wait a minute, I saw one more story that caught my eye. An embarrassing reminder of racist mascots. Oh, this is about the Cleveland Indians in the World Series, you know, playing the Chicago Cubs. I think today is game 3. I might watch that game. So the controversy is that the Cleveland Indians have this as their logo, and that it's, let's see what it says. The chairman of Wilton Rancheria tells stories of his American Indian heritage. But when he thinks about Chief Wahoo, the cheesy-looking, red-faced, grinning Indian who serves as mascot for the World Series Cleveland Indians, he gets very uncomfortable. I told you I was going to avoid controversy and politics. So let me just say, some of this stuff has been around for a long time. Maybe we should just leave it alone. Ooh. There are more stories here. that I should cover, but I don't want to. Like the big increase in our healthcare premiums, which are going to hit me hard in 2017. California should create a pot cartel. Okay? Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. The Weather Channel. Nah. The only thing I want to talk about is that we're finally having some rain and cool weather here in Sacramento. I'm happy about that. And we'll save all the rest of the stories that come up for next time, because I have other videos to do. Until then, please relax, be soothed. I'll find out how to get rid of ads in the middle of my videos, and don't ASMR and drive. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.